Welcome back to the NW Sportscast. It was a rough day for Mariners baseball yesterday as Seattle dropping game two of their three-game series against Detroit. They had already dropped game one, and so the Mariners officially out of first place, once again out of playoff positioning, and once again they are now in the hunt. We knew it was going to be tough yesterday. Tariq Skubal is a really good player, a really good pitcher. I believe he's leading the AL Cy Young odds. But George Kirby, a good player too. So it was going to be a tough game, but it was going to be a game that we thought was winnable, right? I mean, Kirby versus Skubal. It's a battle of aces, a battle of Cy Young candidates, and Kirby is a Cy Young candidate even after the loss with 3.13 ERA. He's been very good this season. Unfortunately, Mariners could not get the job done. Kirby slipped up a little bit. He allows 7 hits, just the 3 runs, and he does strike out 7, but a pair of home runs really did him in. The Tigers, Wensiel Perez, he lifted a home run in the top of the first, and then in the top of the fourth, Jake Rogers, the backup catcher, he crushed a home run. Cal Raleigh for the Mariners put the Mariners on the board with a 2-run bomb in the bottom of the fourth to make it 3-2. But then in the top of the ninth, the Tigers, they walked the first 3 guys. Unfortunately, Jose Hernandez not able to get the job done on the mound. Mariners lose 6-2 to the Detroit Tigers. They fall to 59 and 56. There's still just 3 games above 500. And of course, after getting off to such a good start, we swept the White Sox. We did lose 2 of 3 to Boston, but then we took 2 of 3 against Philadelphia. It looked like maybe we were back. We had won 6 out of 8. Now the Mariners 6-5 in their last 11. I wouldn't say we are officially scuffling, but we have lost once again 3 in a row, and these losing streaks are just starting to become a part of the game. I guess Cal Raleigh probably player of the game. Yeah, it's tough, but I'm looking at the stats right now, and it's not great. Let's pull up the standings. Because again, I want to update it pretty much every day. This is worth updating on. Houston has taken control of the AL West by half a game. They're at 59 and 55. Meanwhile, the Mariners at 59 and 56. Texas, they are in third place at 54 and 61. They're 5.5 back. And then Los Angeles, 9 games back. And the A's are 12 back, so they're pretty much out of it. And as far as wild card goes, Seattle is, they're quite a ways back. They're 4.5 games behind the Minnesota Twins. The Twins are 13 over. The Mariners are only 3 over. So really, we're 10 games back. Oh, but I guess the Twins are the 2 seed. Yeah, because the Yankees and Baltimore are tied right now atop the league, and so it is actually Kansas City. We are 4.5 games back of Kansas City. Now we do have a tiebreaker over Kansas City. That could come into play if we were able to catch them, but we're 4.5 back. And a much more winnable goal would be to win the AL West. So that is, I think, what we have to keep our eyes set on, because, yeah, it's just the wild card seems like it's too much to overcome. 4.5 is a lot. But only half a game back at Houston, so we're still in the mix there. But we need to get going. We need to get. I mean, look, 3-game winning streaks are great, but then we go in a 3-game losing streak, and it's just, we got to balance this out. Somehow, we got to balance this out. We cannot keep losing games to mediocre teams. The Tigers are below 500. The Mets, who we play next, are an even better team than Detroit. The Mets are actually above 500. The Mets are in the playoff position, I believe, or maybe not. The Mets are half a game back of the wild card right now in the NL. They are 6 games above 500. So the Mets are a better team than us. That is going to be a difficult game. Yeah, so today's game, it's at 6:40 p.m., so it's a rare Thursday night game against the Tigers. It'll be Brian Wu taking on TBD. So the Tigers yet to announce. Have to take advantage of a game like that. Brian Wu is a better pitcher than whoever TBD is. And then meanwhile, Houston, they do not play. So if we win today, we will be back in front of Houston. If we lose, we'd be a game back. Other notable games to watch: Angels taking on the Yankees. Not that it is super important for the division, And then you've got the wild card chase. The Rays take on the Cardinals. The Rays are a team to watch in the wild card chase. And that's kind of it. None of the other big wild card teams are playing today, so a nice little opportunity to pick up a win against a TBD starter, avoid the sweep. You'd really love to not get swept. And then, pick up a game against everybody. Tie Houston, take back the lead. In other news, Dominic Canzone, he is ready to rejoin the team. I'm hearing, I'm not sure if he'll be back today or what. We just sent down Cade Marlowe and brought back Ryan Bliss. Seems like a weird decision because Ryan Bliss just never plays. I feel like you should probably just send down Ryan Bliss for Dominic Canzone. That seems like the right call to me. I don't know where Canzone fits on this team. I like with a healthy Julio, the outfield presumably you've got Julio, Brandy, Rayleigh, Robles, and Haniger. That's 5 outfielders right there. So Canzone would be number 6. But with Julio still injured, my guess is that we will see some Canzone for at least a couple more weeks. But Dom Canzone, he really has to turn on the Jets, I think, if he wants to have a chance at remaining on this team long term. So let's talk Seahawks. Some bad news coming out of training camp. And look, I don't want to speculate on things, but DK Metcalf has got to get his anger under control. Now, maybe these fights that we've been hearing about aren't his fault. It's hard for me to believe that. Because we've seen DK do this before. We've seen DK lose his temper on the football field. We've seen it happen in multiple games last year. He actually probably cost us a game last year because of his temper. And now we're hearing fights breaking out at Seahawks training camp, and who's in the middle of it? DK Metcalf. Swinging his helmet at Trey Brown. Tensions running high, according to Seattle Times. Nothing personal, we're hearing. So that's good, I guess. It makes me question a couple things. It makes me question Mike McDonald a little bit. And it makes me question DK Metcalf. This is according to Stacey Rost of Seattle Sports. Most heated practice of Seattle Seahawks training camp came on Wednesday, the last fully padded practice before the preseason game. ESPN's Brady Henderson reported that at least 5 skirmishes took place. The NFL Network camera crew caught the interaction between Trey Brown and DK Metcalf. Seattle Times reported head coach Mike McDonald called the team together for a lecture. Seattle could be in line for a hefty fine if they break out during an upcoming joint practice against the Tennessee Titans. Artie Burns says fights are a regular thing. Fights are a way that guys just let guys know, hey, I'm here. However, I do think there's an element of it's a young head coach in Mike McDonald. And I think he's still learning. I think he's still getting the hang of how he's going to be a leader for these men. And we did hear about fights when Pete Carroll was coach. It's not like this is a brand new thing. But I feel like Pete Carroll did a pretty good job generally of keeping his guys cool, keeping his guys calm, collected, and just focused on the goal, which was winning. And I think Mike McDonald, obviously, he wants to win. Obviously, he wants to keep his guys ready to go. But there is an element of he's very young, he's inexperienced, he's 37. He does not have this leadership of being a head coach. And I don't know if it's like a respect issue. I sure hope it's not. But I really just think it's more of a... These guys are all just a little bit more... They're just a little bit more on edge. And they just feel a little bit more powerful in the sense that they can do what they want, and maybe they're not going to be victim to Mike McDonald in the same way that a Pete Carroll would hold them to that high standard. I don't know. Artie Burns says he thinks everyone on the sideline is in shock because the aggression they had, the swag they had was so good. That is a direct quote about Mike McDonald. So he thinks he's happy with what Mike McDonald has brought to the defense. That's good. I just hope that the leadership can stand up on its 2 feet. I don't doubt Mike McDonald as a defensive mastermind, as a defensive genius, but I want to see the leadership, and I want to see the growth in leadership, and I want to see the respect in the team. That's, I think, the biggest thing that we can look for this season with Seattle Seahawks football.